Hey guys, this is Frenzy, and bringing you a game from Intel Extreme Masters Tournament in China between EGIdrA spawning in the bottom position as the red Zerg, and EGPuma spawning as the blue Terran in the left position. This is going to be on Shattered Temper, Zerg versus Terran. Both of these players from the team Evil Geniuses, and for a while, EGPuma has been staying at the EG house and practicing with all the EG members, so IDRA should have a pretty good idea of the styles. Likewise, Puma should have a pretty good idea of what IDRA is going to do. These guys have had a couple weeks to practice together lately, so we're going to have to see how both players react and if we see any deviations from their normal standard play. Right now we're just going to see how each player opens. We probably will see a pretty standard play, 12 barracks out of Puma, probably some sort of a tech build, and IDRA might be going for that 15 hatchery like he always loves to do. And we do see that barracks coming down now. This SCV is going to scout the Overlord, so we'll know where IDRA is positioned in the map. Won't have to scout that cross positions. And we do see IDRA going for that fast expansion on, it looks like 15. It's going to be timed out to for that drone to arrive exactly when he gets 300 minerals. And that's something really important for the lower league players to do. Send out that drone a little bit early. I've actually gotten it timed out to around 200 minerals. You send that drone out and it'll get there when you hit 300. Something that everyone should try to do, just try to time out that distance in your head and send out a drone or a SCV or a probe a little bit before you actually have that money, and it'll crispen up your timings a lot. So we do see the scout from Puma going to come in here, see that fast expansion, know that he's not on any early pressure, and we'll have to see how he reacts to that. It looks like he's actually going to be going for a 1-rax expansion. So both of these players heading down a very macro-intensive route. IDRA, famous for his macro, and Puma, obviously a Korean, will expect that his macro is better than IDRA's. So I do have to say that the favorite for this match would have to be EGPuma. Definitely one of those top-tier Koreans. But IDRA definitely able to hold his own. Did take down Revival, so we'll have to see here. We do see a pretty quick extractor coming off of this 15 hatchery, and he's going to be getting that Zergling speed up very, very quickly. Will be safe to any harassment that Puma throws his way. We do see Puma taking both of his gas geysers now, so going to head down some sort of attack-intensive route. And this SCV for Puma still here. Going to have to be careful now that Zerglings are out. Looks like he will be sending that off into the top area of the map and going to be using that for a scout later on. IDRA going to be trying to chase down that SCV, but doesn't quite know where it went. We'll be scouting around for that. The other Zergling from IDRA going to come in here and check the top of the ramp. That gives you a pretty good idea of what your opponent's doing. If you come up here and you see the reactored Hellions, you see a factory with a reactor on it, see a factory with a tech lab on it for Blue Flame, gives you a pretty good idea. Seeing this low marine count with still no add-ons in a barracks generally means that it's a 1-rax expansion, but you can't fall victim to the fact that he could be hiding 5 or 6 marines, and it could be a later 2-rax pressure. So IDRA is getting up this spine crawler, doesn't quite know what's going on right now, but probably will suspect that 1-rax expansion that's very famous for Korean players. We still see IDRA having one guy left in gas after that Zergling speed, so we'll be able to get that lair a little bit quicker. Gonna probably throw in 2 more very, very shortly. It is getting up to around that timing where he will be taking more gas geysers. We do see Puma just coming out here, making sure there's no Zerglings right around the front to scout when this expansion's going down, but we do see IDRA having a pretty good Overlord placement to spot when that natural expansion does get taken for Puma. And now we're going to see some Blue Flame play here. Not really sure how I feel about that. It looks like it will be pretty late, so mutas will be out fairly soon after these Blue Flame Hellions do take map control. So this won't give Puma a whole lot of map control, but he can do quite a bit of damage, especially if he gets a starport for drop play as well. IDRA's starting to go to work on these back rocks, going to take that expansion in the near future. EGIdrA does scout the 2 Hellions, so that gives him a pretty good idea that there's either going to be a lot of Red Flame Hellions or Blue Flame Hellions on the way. And so we are going to see another Spinecrawler coming up for EGIdrA, and he's just going to try to get as safe as possible without building roaches. EGIdrA absolutely hates roaches in the Terran matchup, so we do see that +1 melee attacks coming down now for EGIdrA. Going to try to stay on top of those upgrades. Likewise, we see Combat Shield coming down for Puma. And these Hellions just going to be as annoying as possible, taking out a few creep tumors here. That's going to slow down EGIdRA's creep a little bit. Repositioning that Spinecrawler. Puma not going to take advantage of that and try to go into the main. And Puma going to see these, and actually... Okay, he did get Blue Flame. I thought he might have canceled it. It looked a little bit quick. But indeed, these are 4 Blue Flame Hellions. It looks like he stopped production for now, so I don't really know if that upgrade was at all worth it. Maybe if he keeps them alive and does some sort of a drop with them later on. This is a full metavac's worth of drops, and that could be his plan. So we do see quite a few Zerglings being morphed in here. A few Banelings at the top of ramp, mainly just to stop Puma from trying to dive up this ramp. Puma going to take down one of these creep tumors, and that generally signifies he wants to do a quick timing push with siege mode and wants to keep that creep back as far as possible. So we'll have to see if he does go for that. It looks like mutas will be out before siege mode does indeed pop out, and it looks like Puma going to go over here and take down the rocks to his gold base. Doesn't have a command center for it yet, but going to be able to take that as soon as he builds one. Probably behind whatever first attack he tries to make. Now we are going to see EGIdRA probably going over to take this third base fairly shortly. It is getting a little bit late for that third base to be thrown down, but we do see the macro hatch coming up for EGIdRA. And 7 Mutalisks on the way. That +1 almost finishing up, and Baneling speed about 3/4 of the way done. And we do see siege mode coming down now. It's just finished. And it looks like Puma not going to push with that siege mode. It looks like he's going to wait for stim and possibly that +1 infantry attack. Now these mutas do pop, they're going to push back these Hellions. He just needs to be very careful not to lose any of these Hellions, as they could be very vital in later engagements, or just for their harassment potential. And might get one of these picked off, but it looks like EGIdRA is going to come back here and try to do some damage into the main base. EGPuma already ready with Marines, going to push back these mutas. Not going to do any damage quite yet. We see EGIdRA taking his 3rd expansion and getting these gold base rocks destroyed of his own. EGPuma going to take that command center, probably going to fly it over to the gold as soon as it gets morphed into an orbital command. We see the turrets coming down now for EGPuma. 1 in each base. That's actually a little bit light. He needs to be kind of careful of this mutal harass. We do see 1 extra in the main base. But EGIdRA going to be macroing a lot of mutas very, very quickly. This supply T-bow probably going to... no, not quite fall. EGIdRA playing this very, very passively with the mutas. Doesn't want to take any extra damage he doesn't need to. Stim not quite done, but he doesn't know that. He doesn't want to get under a bunch of stimmed Marines. These Hellions going to come out yet again. Didn't get repaired. EGIdRA going to be slowly chasing these down. But Hellions are pretty quick, so they should stay away from the mutas for quite a while. Puma going to come in here, probably get a good scout on this gold expansion, get a few kills on these Zerglings, and looks like 1, probably 2 of these Hellions will fall. We just see quite a few siege tanks, 5 siege tanks out for Puma. And we see a drop going to be getting ready to be thrown down, but that might pass directly by these Mutalisks. And these Mutalisks are going to catch that drop, and that is huge for EGIdRA, taking out that full medevac without any damage done by Puma. So we just do see EGIdRA about 24 supply ahead of his opponent. Quite a few Zerglings out, just a few Banelings, and a ton of Mutalisks. We do have 15 Mutalisks on the field, and that is becoming that magic number. Likewise, there are only 30 Marines here, so as Puma gets more spread out, these Marines are going to be targetable by these Mutalisks. And he's going to be able to come in here soon, take out this squadron of Marines. Do we have any upgrades? +1 upgrades on that Mutalisk. We have +2 attack and +1 armor coming for EGIdRA. Likewise, we have +1 infantry attacks, +2 on the way, and +1 armor on the way for Puma. Gonna come in here, take out this turret. Needs to be careful of these Marines. Can't engage those Marines quite yet, but could actually do some splash damage. Target firing this supply depot to kill off a few of these Marines and SCVs. Very smart. It looks like he is going to engage these Marines, and they're going to fall very quickly to this huge amount of Mutalisks. And this is the money number for EGIdrA, 23 Mutalisks, and he's just going to come in here, kill a ton of SCVs. We see 8 SCVs fell in that attack, just killing off supply depots, doing any damage he can. Supply blocking Puma for quite a while, and we do see EGIdrA maxed out right now. A ton of units here for EGIdrA. And I'm wondering if he's going to assault this gold base, or if he's going to wait for the Terran army to move out on its own. Looks like EGIdrA going to take a 4th base. Wouldn't even mind seeing him take a 5th now that he's maxed out. And a ton of Mutalisks coming in here. Could engage a couple of these Marines, but has to be careful of all the reinforcing Marines. Looks like killed about 3 for 1 Mutalisk. Not a terrible trade. And this Thor, if it gets a good volley off, could be pretty dangerous. Does let that turret fall down. This Marine going to come in here, scouting for the 5th base of EGIdrA. And all these Zerglings moving out into the center of the map here. Wondering if EGIdrA is going to try to get aggressive. It looks like he's just trying to poke up and see if Puma's taken any extra bases. So far, Puma is only on 3 base. He's just going to come in here again, just trying to pick off any supply depots, constantly supply blocking Puma. And I'm getting pretty scared for Puma here. EGIdrA has been maxed out for a while, has 3,500, 1,000 in the bank. We see 78 drones out, 60 SCVs, and here comes another one of those drops. These Zerglings actually should see this drop. Actually, they may pass directly by it. It looks like they did scout it just for a brief second in time, and we'll scout it yet again. So Puma going to have to be a little bit scared of this. Looks like he just dropped those out, and the Mute is instantly reacting and trying to go up towards that area on the map. Might take out this patrolling Marine as well. Looks like no, they will not. Trying to intercept that dropship. Yeah, they will take out that Marine, just in case it was being resent. But it looks like Puma just going to send that drop back home. Going to take his 4th base behind this as well. Very good play out of both of these players. We do see the infestors are coming down now. Adrenaline glands and +3 melee attacks on the way for EGIdrA. And as long as also an Ultralisk Cavern, that's actually very interesting. I'm not going for those Broodlords at this stage in the game. Going to go on Ultras first. We do see Ghosts coming down. And these Mutants going to come in here, take out a turret, a few SCVs, not too much damage dealt. And these Infestors are going to be able to fungal a lot of these Marines and do tons of damage. And I'm really worried. There's 68 Marines out, 90 Zerglings, and 26 Mutalisks. So if he gets off 2 big fungals on these groups of Marines, that could spell disaster for the anti-air of Puma. And it looks like a huge unsiege. Puma does want to move out now. He's reaching max. And 2 more command centers, but it looks like these Zerglings are going to find these command centers, making 1 cancel. And actually, just that handful of Zerglings taking out 2 siege tanks just from the splash damage. And that was a minor win there for EGIdrA. We do see only 9 siege tanks. That isn't too bad, but with these Mutalisks, are going to be able to pick them off as he's moving across the map. Going to take out that medevac and a few Marines, also a siege tank lost. Needs to be careful of that Thor and Marines. Doesn't want to get too overextended. And not almost 2-2 finished up, but 3-3 on the way for EGIdrA. So as soon as that starts to kick in, that upgrade advantage will help out EGIdrA in this engagement that's going to be happening momentarily. I'm going to stim a few Marines in here. Very smart just to stim a handful of Marines. These Mutalisks are going to push back those Marines. Going to try to take out as much creep as possible, just ignoring the Mutalisks for now. But EGIdrA has creep all the way to the middle of the map, almost touching Puma's 3rd base, so it's going to be very difficult to... Oh, and we do see a Nidus Worm. I missed it building, but this Nidus Worm is going to probably drop Lings and Ultras into the main base. And it looks like Puma trying to take that out with the Thor, but not going to get it focused down. And all these Marines going to try to focus down. The Nidus Worm does focus it down indeed, but these Mutas just being able to clean up all of those Marines meanwhile. And Puma dropping 40 supply there for almost nothing but a Nidus Worm killed. And that was actually a very big deal. EGIdrA going to try to delay that 3-3 for as long as possible. Doesn't want Puma getting on that upgrade edge, wants to keep his edge on upgrades. And it looks like just random rally Nidus Worm is going to be placed around the map so we can do some major mobility harassment. And this could work out very, very well for EGIdrA. And that's just going to, put Puma in a little bit of shock hearing that Nidus Worm spawn. Going to be looking around. It looks like another Nidus Worm trying to be morphed in. But Puma doing a good job trying to scout for those. We did see a scan going down, hoping that Nidus Worm was not indeed over there. And EGIdrA going to see these ghosts now. These ghosts definitely going to be used for snipe. A ton of ghosts out right now. So these ultras are going to actually be pretty useless. And it looks like drop tech also researched for EGIdrA. Had a lot of time to get all this tech up. And it looks like it's going to be a big drop into the main base of Puma. And this army is way out of position. This could actually do so much damage. Looking at units lost now, looks like about 1,000 more for Puma. We're going to have to see after this. The Nidus Worm also placed. These units in drop are just going to try to be protecting this Nidus Worm from going up. It looks like everything running back except for the siege tanks for Puma. And if this Nidus Worm gets up and he gets some Banelings in here, they could do so much damage. Looks like snipes going down on that Ultralisk. And Nidus Worm going to be going up, but not going to be anything coming out of it. Looks like this just did a little bit of harassment, momentarily supply blocking Puma yet again. And it looks like it was successful, as we do see about 2,000 extra units, resources lost for our Terran. So, about 1,000 damage done there. 1,000 resources worth of damage done. We do see random planetary fortresses just trying to positionally keep this center clear and take his half of the map. But this Nidus Worm up in this 5th base of Puma is going to constantly be able to deny this 4th for as long as possible. We do see the scan going down now. We see that this Nidus Worm did come up for the in the main base here. Only 3 Zerglings in it though. So just going to come in here, try to do a little bit of damage, but not really going to be able to do much. And a huge engagement here for EGIdrA. Going to be coming in here, tons of snipes going down, but these, so many ghosts going down to the Banelings. That was huge amount of Banelings hitting those ghosts. And even though EGIdrA is going to be pushed back here, if we look in the units lost tab, it's almost still even because so many of those Banelings hit those ghosts. Killed about 5 ghosts before they got their snipes off, and that was enormous for EGIdrA. Now EGIdrA going to be able to remax while Puma's struggling to keep 150 supply here. And EGIdrA just playing so good in this game. We do see these patrolling Zerglings trying to keep up for that. We also see the Nidus Worm going into the main base again. A handful of Zerglings going to come in here. These are Adrenaline 3-3 Lings just tearing through these Marines that are 2-2. We do see they're finally shut down, but EGIdrA just being able to re-macro on so many Ultralisks here. I'd love to see a couple Banelings being morphed, but it looks like he will be going for it before he gets that. A ton of Ultras waiting by this Nidus Worm as well. And going to charge in here, doing so much damage with these Ultralisks. A ton of snipes going down, and it looks like there's just enough here to just clean up Puma's army. And EGIdrA crushing through Puma here. There's just not enough units here for Puma. And these Ultras, just 5-3 Ultras crushing through everything. At the same time, we see a ton of Ultras spawned by this Nidus Worm going to go into the 4th base of Puma. And this 2-pronged attack is going to do so much damage. And Puma going to lose this command center. All of these SCVs. And Puma going to try to reposition, but he knows he cannot take this many Ultralisks. And meanwhile, EGIdrA just going to be crushing through. Looks like he's going to go after this planetary fortress on the high ground. And there's just nothing here to defend. It looks like he's going to be able to take this out. But going to have a mass repair, going to take out a ton of SCVs most likely. And this planetary going to fall so hard, so fast. Excuse me, just so much going on. A huge attack into the main base as well, into the natural. And GG from Puma. Puma could not handle this many Ultralisks, and just amazing macro by EGIdrA. We're going to jump into Game 2. If you want to check out more of my games, go to blip.tv/FrenzyStarcraft. And I'm going to jump into the next game, so definitely check that out.